friend, Christine Meyer.
Hi, everybody.
She is an amazing life coach, and I'm so fortunate to have known her now for 10, 11, for many years, right?
A lot of years.
Yes, a lot of years. So I'm so excited to have you on here with me today because I know that you have so much great information to share with us. In this stressful time here, actually, let's quick back up. I'd like for you to quick share a little bit about what you do and what it is as a life coach that you do and how you support people.
Well, I help people come to mindsets that will help them feel good and feel joyful and be able to handle their life and the everyday stressors and the everyday opportunities to feel joy. So I help people find different perspectives and give them little games to play to encourage their mindset, to train their mindset. It's almost like a workout for your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have to go to the gym every day, and if you want to build some muscle and or whatever your intentions are, you have to practice it. So it really is about establishing really good habits and practices, because we are in the habit of thinking certain things often and repeating those thoughts and believing that we're powerless in that. So my whole goal is always about the self-empowerment of you, and for you to feel in charge of your life and in charge of your dominion, regardless of what's going on in the world. And while this feels like a big elephant in the room that is really hard to ignore, it's still, you can still feel there's still potential and probability to feel good anyway. And that doesn't mean you don't care about what's going on. That means you do what you can about your own empowerment. You don't give your power away to something outside of you. You find that empowerment, that power within yourself.
And that's truly what we're all, needing right now. Absolutely. So I quick want to say hi. Kat is here, and Brooke is here, and Leah is here, and Caroline. Hi, everyone. And Jack. Jack is here too. Hi, Jack.
Hey, Jack.
So I'd love for you guys to join in and ask specific questions if you have certain questions that you have of Christine. Okay, so please feel free to type that, and I'll do my best. There's always a bit of a time lag, but I'll do my best to get them over to Christine so she can answer questions for us. But I personally just feel, when I'm around people in the office right now or interacting with people on Facebook, so many of us, we're out of our routine. We're in a completely new state now, and our mind, especially with media, likes to go to the negative, likes to go to the fear, to the oh my God, I can't breathe fully because I'm scared of what's going on. And so much of that is what happens in our minds. So Christine, what would you suggest to a person, if they say my mind keeps drifting to this terrible situation and people being sick and I can't leave my house and I don't know where my money is coming from and how my family is doing.
Yeah. And those things are real. People are home. They're finding themselves unemployed right now, or having to juggle way more things. So that's a great question. So first of all, I would like for people to recognize that it is their thoughts that create their sense of stress or their sense of well-being, or their sense of joy or their sense of sadness. So if you can, whoever's watching now, if you're in a place where you can close your eyes, or watching later, I'd like to try a little exercise with you where we're gonna do it quickly because we've only got 15 or 20 minutes here, but make the association that what I'm continuing to think about right now is making me feel this way. Okay, so if whoever's on here or listening later, if you can just close your eyes and take some long deep breaths and feel yourself relaxing. And I'm going to have you go here just a little bit. pick a subject that you know upsets you, which is pretty easy right now. So just think about it a little bit. Now, different people listening in will be at different places on this subject. So the premise of what I'm doing right here is that this subject doesn't feel good to you as you continue to think about it. If you don't feel bad about it, then pick something that it irritates you and think about it.
Very easy to find.
Okay. All
Yep.
right. We got that. So again, we're going to shorten this exercise for the purposes of our short interview here. So have you got the association that you thought about that and you don't feel so good?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And when you and I were just having the conversation before, you probably weren't aware of that uncomfortable feeling, whatever it is that you're feeling. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So how would you say, just in one word, bringing your thoughts to the elephant in the room, the big subject right now, felt to you?
It literally makes my chest feel tight, and it feels just uncomfortable and tense, and makes my want to spin in a million different directions.
Right. And now it's you're wondering about this, wondering about that, wondering about that. Okay. Now do the same thing. Close your eyes again and take some deep breaths. Okay. And now imagine a time or a scene or a place or a person where you felt good, where it was fun, where you enjoy being, someone you love. Easy, just something easy that you know you can think about and you feel good. And just keep playing that scene in your mind.
That feels better.
Okay, so again, can you make the association between where you brought your thoughts, you guided your thoughts, and how you felt in one direction or the other, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I that's just an important thing to recognize, that there was no. Now, we could argue the fact that there is a reality of the corona happening, and you thought about it and it's a reality. But in this moment, right here in this time, you were able to change your thoughts to something that was not happening.
Mm-hmm.
And feel improvement. So
Mm-hmm.
that in and of itself is empowering, to know that that can be happening, but I can tune myself. I can think about something that feels better to me. Okay.
So what if your thoughts, like my thought went to a vacation moment, right? Vacation time.
Yeah.
But then my thoughts want to
Oh
go
no.
there and say, oh, but my next vacation I can't go on. So, I got
That's the little game. That's a good point. First and foremost, we just want you to recognize, see, your thoughts went to someplace else, then I can't go, and then you felt bad again.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're always feeling responses to your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And the empowerment piece again here is that to recognize that, number one, it doesn't make you wrong or bad for thinking about the things that are there to think about. It just means you have more control over how you feel than you might be assigning yourself. We all think that feeling is about everything that's going around us usually, or in reaction to something, versus something that we can actually do something about. Now, again, this is a very short call and I've got plenty of games to play, but so how do you start to practice that and apply it? Just like, how do you go into the gym and work your way up to walking a mile or running a mile or running 20 or whatever your thing is? Well, there are little games that you can play, and it really depends on how good you feel, whether you can play them at all or not, or how bad you feel and what you're able to do. But if you just practice these things every day and So I'm going to give you a little list here, okay? So no matter what we deem as bad, what I know for sure is that there's always something good. There's more than one good thing.
Yes, and a lot of people do know we have so much to be grateful for. It's just that our mind keeps drifting away from that.
Right. So those are little breaks, even if you want, that you can set aside. I'm going to, for the next 5 minutes, I'm going to sit myself down and think about something or write about something. And I encourage writing only because our thoughts are fleeting and they come and go and come and go and come and go and go all over the place in a very quick, hot second. And so if you sit down and write it, then it makes you focus a little bit more. And if you tell yourself it's only for 5 minutes, then I'm going to feel good. I'll pay the price of feeling good. I'll pay the price of feeling better. Oh my goodness, what a price. Right? So if you can sit down and write, if you're not, I'm going to mention one. And if that's not doable for you, then I'll mention more. Okay. So one of them is, can I believe that there are possibilities here in the situation at large and in me needing to stay home, right? Because you always have the choice to feel trapped or to feel free, to feel right, or something in between, but you lean yourself in the direction. So are there benefits to me being at home? Are there benefits to this? Are there benefits to my dogs? Are there benefits? Just lean yourself. What are the benefits? What are some benefits that I could come up with?
Yeah.
And another way to pose
write those down, then to write down the benefits
and write down and just stay with it. You want to stay with it for at least 3 minutes. Okay. Don't have to stay with it more than 5, but you might like it so much that you can't stop finding benefits. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, don't make it hard, and it might be hard at first. That's what I also want you to understand. It might be like, there's no benefits to this at all because I blah, 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 blah. And it's like, just understand that that is a reality that you're reacting to, but there are benefits. So that's one, and write them down. Another one would be, what are the simple things that I can appreciate? And my goodness, there's a long list of those. There really are. Hot water.
Yes.
Right?
Electricity.
Cold water to drink. I can see. There's plenty of oxygen for me to breathe. My feet are right where I last left them yesterday.
I never thought about that. Yes, they are.
So is my head, right? I have sheets on my bed. I have blankets. I have a bed. I have a roof, and it might feel I have a fridge full of food. And if it's not full, then there's food in my fridge, right? You keep, what are the little things that you can just appreciate, that not to make you feel bad for taking them for granted, but are just really making your life easy and good? Those simple things. I have my family surrounding me, and don't say that if you're really irritated with your family around you, but it's more like I have a pen, I have paper, I have shoes, I have a closet full of clothes, there's just so much here already to appreciate. Why am I doing that? Why am I having you sort of practice that modem of appreciation? It's simply because by doing that, you don't feel that pain of believing that there's something that you need to have right now that you don't have, or something that you need to solve that you haven't solved yet. And it's tuning yourself to what is so good right here and now. Okay. Yeah. And so, again, writing those down, because it gets that momentum going. It gets you looking for, it's kind of like if you've ever decided you're going to drive down the highway and look for a certain kind of car, right? Inevitably, you're going to start seeing that car.
Absolutely.
And so it tunes you to seeing what's already there is really the point. Because if you keep looking for evidence of what feels bad, you'll find that as well. Because you and I could talk for the next probably hour, at least, if not more, of all the crap that's going on right now and make it all bad and worse.
Yeah.
Right. So it really is about your mindset and where you're deciding to focus. Now, if you feel like your thoughts keep getting away from you and you keep finding that you can't, what you're going to say to me is like, but I can't help but think about this, then I'm going to say to you, well, at least you sleep at night. And you say, but I'm not sleeping well because I'm worried about it. I'm going to say, well, you're getting some sleep. So there's some, it's the story is that I can't stop thinking about it. It's like, well, you're not thinking about it all the time. There is some time in there when you're not, and so that's good. That's good. Now, we're not saying that it's wrong to feel bad about this. It's simply, would you rather feel better? Would you rather feel that tension ease off of your chest? Would you rather feel more joy? Maybe joy is too hard for anyone to reach for right now, but you could.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make you wrong for feeling how you feel. It's just simply what choice do you have?
Yeah. So, quick question here. So, bunch of new people on here. Becky, Diane, Jim, Tracy, Jen. Hi, everybody, and Joy. If you guys have any questions, like if you're stuck in a thought that you can't get rid of, or if you're stuck, feeling a certain way, post it on here. Throw it out there so that Christine can actually walk you through, what can feel better and how to get you to a more, a state that feels better for you than all the stress and anxiety that's going on. So I'm just throwing that out there. If you want to do that, go for it.
And I want to make it clear that we're not looking for a solution to the problem when we're doing this. We're just looking for a solution for your own empowerment. That's it.
Yeah.
That's as far as it needs to go. And so I can give you more games to play, or more questions to ask yourself in addition to the ones that we just talked about. And if you can be in a place after there's another question. So what makes my life easy, that you can ask yourself, which I play this game a lot and I love it because, gosh, what makes my life easy? Well, having a bed to sleep in, having shoes, having socks, having drawers to put my clothes in, having a microwave if you use one, having a stove if you use one, having cold water in the fridge, having a fridge, having an indoor bathroom, having hopefully some toilet paper. If not, then, I don't know, get creative.
So I said, if somebody doesn't have toilet paper, let me know. We do have toilet paper we can share.
So, and again, you've got to feel for whether this makes you more stressed, but what's already established, what makes my life easy? There are roads and the facilitations to make that happen, and there are road signs when I am driving. There's outside, there's nature. Nature makes my life easy. The singing birds makes my life easy. Having a washcloth makes my life easy. Like, there's just so many things, again, that are in place already that are contributing to your well-being. And if you can focus on that, it helps you find some stability even when all hell is breaking loose. It just does. But this doesn't happen overnight. That's another thing I want to make clear here. This becomes a practice. This becomes something that I've been applying and practicing for years and continue to do so. So the games evolve as you play them, but it's not something that you just want to do once and say, okay, there, I'm done. I'm done.
How do you know if you're doing it right?
There's no right or wrong way. You're going to find your way. There is an indicator as to whether you're playing along or not, in the sense that you're going to feel some relief. You're going to feel really good, or you're going to feel slightly better, or you're going to feel in between. You're just going to feel some relief. You're just going to feel some relief. And then you're going to say to yourself, before you get out of bed in the morning, you're going to say, what makes my life easy? Today, I'm going to tune to the things that make my life easy. That's easy. And then throughout your day, you could set a timer. If you're that kind of regimented person, you could set a timer and say, every hour, on the hour, I'm going to set a timer so that I can ask myself that question, so that I can refocus, because I have habits of thought, right? I have habits of going through my day that are going to come into play, that, like you were saying, my thoughts keep going to this. It's like, that's fine. But if you can take 5 minutes out of every hour, or 5 minutes out of every 2 hours, or whatever works for you, it's just simply recognizing that there's momentum in place in a way that you're used to thinking, and now we're trying to retrain you. It's like, when the power goes out and you reach for the light switch to turn it on or turn it off, and the power's out. That's a habit. Or you get up from the toilet and you go to flush the toilet every single time when the power's out. So you have to retrain yourself. You have to, it's thinking about what I mean to be thinking about. And again, doesn't make you wrong if your thoughts are getting out ahead of you. It's simply, how can we help you retrain that and have 5 minutes of relief if that's all you get?
So when you catch yourself, then say, "Oh, okay, how can I find something that feels better, something that..."
Right, and it might be too hard, because once you get, I'm sure you've noticed, everyone's noticed, probably listening in, once you get thinking something and you get on that train, it's hard to get off of it. It's like, you might as well, it would be hard to jump off a really fast going train. You'd hurt yourself, right? And that's kind of how it feels like. So it's like, all right, I'm just going to let that be. But do I want to keep thinking about this now? Don't even try to make yourself feel better, right? Don't even try to think a thought that feels better. Just say, all right, do I want to stay on this train, or do I want to jump off this train? And jumping off, again, might feel like that's impossible, but it's like, well, then I'll slow the train down. I'll go do something else. You just distract yourself instead of continuing on that thought train.
So to really think about a whole different topic. So if I'm thinking about how, jobs are at stake, to not think of, well, with jobs at stake, it could be, like, to not even try to make that feel better, but to actually go to a totally different topic.
No, because again, if you've decided that you hate turnips, right, then there's not much sense in trying to pretend that you like turnips. You might as well just, there's a whole buffet of other things to eat, usually, other choices. And so pick something else on that buffet to eat, rather than continuing to think about the turnips and trying to make yourself like the turnips. Probably nobody likes this situation. And not just this, it's many things in your life that you can think about in general that don't feel good when you're thinking about them.
Yeah.
And that's not the time to try and figure them out. It doesn't mean that there isn't a solution. It just simply means now is probably not the time. So go do a puzzle. Go and don't go calling a friend and complaining about that thing. Call a friend and talk about something else. Hey, I'd like to feel better.
Yeah.
Let's talk about silly things, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about stuffed animals. It doesn't matter. The subject doesn't matter. It's more, right now, if you stay on that train, you're not going to feel better. You're going to feel worse, and you're not going to solve anything right now.
And we're so used to, when there is something bad, that we tell somebody else about it. And then that person wants to be empathetic and ask you even more about it. And then you're digging deeper and deeper, right? And that's the train that...
And again, it's not about ignoring how you feel. It's just about understanding that now is not the time. Now is not the time. And to understand how empowering feeling better anyway is. And when you can show yourself that, and again, you don't have to be perfect at this. It's more just understanding that you could, understanding that there is a way, understanding that it is a practice. Just, and like anything, a habit takes time after time after time after time. And I'm not implying that this needs to be hard. It's just understand that it doesn't just happen and you suddenly are doing it all the time tomorrow. This thought train is going to keep going, and you might have to redirect yourself many times in a day, or many times in a week, or whatever. And that really applies not just to this subject that's so big right now, but anything that you tend to get wrapped up in and consider and contemplate in your life, right? And there's a lot of people feeling overwhelmed right now because they're home with kids, and either they are not working, therefore financially feeling stressed about that, or working and trying to manage it with their kids being schooled at home. And one thing that I keep hearing over and over again is, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. It's like they can't even breathe. And it's like, okay, just take a breath. Take a breath. Stop and take a breath. Because what you're feeling right now is going to keep contributing to what's the overwhelm. And so I'm not asking you to, the conditions are what they are. You're going to be schooling your kids. Yep. And you may or may not have a job. Maybe. But feeling more overwhelming about it is not helpful to you in this moment. So that would be another suggestion that I would make, is to make more choices in more moments of your day about what you're going to stop and think about. Is this really, in fact, the other night, my daughter, Frankie, was doing something, and I said to her, cut it out. Some like that, right? And I wasn't angry, but I said, cut it out. And so she turned and looked at me and she said, Mama, is it really worth you being mad at me about this? And I looked at, and I said, no, it's not. So it's kind of like making those choices as often as you possibly can. It's like, are you going to make the worst of it? Right? We could say right now is the worst of it. Are we going to make the worst of it? Or am I going to make the best of it, or something in between, depending on where I am? Well, I'm stuck at home. I have to school my kids, and I have still a lot of work to do. It's like the sun rises every morning.
Yes.
That seems like, well, that's pretty lame, Christine. Like, who cares? But it's progressive. When you keep doing that, then you really are affecting your experience of what your experience is.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you feel like a victim, and you feel powerless, which will never feel good.
Exactly. Reaching for something that feels better. Turning on some music, breathing, moving.
And I mean, another simple one is to close your eyes and decide on purpose that you're going to sit and you're going to breathe deeply to a nice deep rhythm that feels good to you. Again, I'm not going to assign that there's any particular right or wrong way that you can do this, but as you're breathing deeply, count to 17 slowly, and then count to 17 backwards. From 17 backwards, sorry. Count to 17 and then count backwards. Why? Because that quiets your mind.
Yeah.
That quiets your mind, and it's got you engaged enough so that you're thinking about that instead of the problematic problem.
Yeah.
Right? And why do that? Why bother? Well, again, how do you want to feel right now? Do you want to keep feeling stressed?
No.
And then also to make the association that shit can be hitting the fan, and you don't have to be reacting to it. You can still find your stability, because people are feeling uncertain because of the unknown. It's like, you don't have to feel uncertain with unknowns. You can still find stability.
Yeah. Absolutely. You know what? It's so funny. We were talking about that we were going to talk for maybe 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. You know that we've been on here for just about half an hour at this point? When you talk about this stuff, it's great, and you just want to go there. And I
so much
enjoy listening to it and thinking about the good things. And I really like the thought of writing those things down, because it really does shift. If it's not just in your mind, but if you're physically writing it down, seeing those words written down, the things that you can, appreciate, the things that make your life easier, the things that are good. It's so much nicer to see it written down, because your mind also then kind of knows, I have it. There's like a physical component to it all.
And it keeps you focused, again, because your mind is squirrely, and that's not meant as an insult. It's just your mind can think of a whole bunch of things back and forth easily. So if you're writing it down, it's making you focus more. Absolutely. And there are a whole bunch of other benefits that we can talk about to that, but we can do another one of these calls, or whatever we call this, if people are interested, because there's a whole bunch of other reasons to do it, and games that we can play, and ways to train your mind, and it really is about empowerment. That's all it is. It's so that you have the best experience that you can in this moment, and that's okay if you're having a shitty experience. It's just understand that you can gain control of your own experience.
Yeah. Are those things going to be in your book as well, Christine? Because Christine is finishing a book, and it's going to be awesome. So, are these types of things in your book as well?
Yeah, absolutely. They're obviously, I go into them more deeply, and talk about some false premises that we as humans tend to base our beliefs on, which then if you base your beliefs on false premises, you can't help but draw false conclusions, right? And so I talk about that in ways to feel good. It's in 4 steps. It's 4 short steps to feeling better, or feeling good, or feeling empowered in your life. And yeah, there's all kinds of good stuff in that book, for sure.
When the book comes out, everybody, I will make sure to share it in our group here so that you have easy access to it. Because it's, I've gotten to read tiny little bits of pieces of it here and there. So I'm already really looking forward to reading the whole thing. And I think it's going to be super helpful, not just in this crisis right now, but in general. I mean, who doesn't want to feel better? Who doesn't want to feel good? You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that life always exists of all the bliss and all the positive, but if we can find a way to create more joy and more happiness and more good feelings, I think that's something that everybody wants to get on.
Yeah, because everybody wants to feel good. And when they perceive, or when they see or observe or react to things that are not as they want them, the reason why they really want them to go better is because they want to feel good, because looking at that doesn't feel good to me. And I don't know what to do with my bad feeling. And when you feel bad, it doesn't mean that that thing or that person or whatever you're perceiving is bad. So I go into that more in the book, of understanding what your emotions mean. But that's a whole, that's a whole other conversation. I think that these practical things that you can practice are going to be helpful. And also to understand that people are going to be where they are right now. People are perceiving this situation from all kinds of different vantage points, and that's okay. That's okay. Let them be, and just decide how you want to continue feeling. What radio station do you want to tune to, basically? Because there's a variety of, think of it as think of your emotions as being a variety of radio stations or frequencies that you can tune to. And if you're tuned to Sirius XM, the Pulse, you're not hearing what's being played on the Blend, or which one, Hits One or Coffee House, right? So that it really is about that. And so people are on different wavelengths, different stations. And if they're on a different station, don't try to make them come over and listen to the music you're listening to. Just keep deciding what music you're going to play and what music you're going to listen to. And I think there's a whole lot going on out there where people are trying to say, well, no, this is the right and this is the wrong.
And especially know that you have a choice what station of emotions and thoughts you're listening to in your own being. Because so many of us think we don't even have a choice. Well, this is just how I feel. Well, you can choose, you can change, you can shift. It is work. It's definitely work. But you can choose.
It's focus. It's focus. And it won't feel easy at first, because you're so used to regurgitating your thoughts and your habitual beliefs. And yet it's so worth it. It's so worth it. And it's a lifelong thing, because we're always going to be thinking, but it does get easier. Like anything, you go to the gym repeatedly, it just gets easier. You make yourself drink more water, it gets easier. Everything gets easier the more you do it. So you got to be patient with yourself and kind to yourself. Don't be kind to yourself. Really, that's a big thing. No reason to be beating yourself or anyone else up or anything.
Christine, thank you so much for sharing all of this here with us. I really appreciate it. There was a whole bunch of people watching in here, and I know a lot more people will watch this down the road. So if you, as a viewer, if you have any specific questions or thoughts that you would like for Christine to address, just post it on here. and she will try to get back to you, or you'll see her name on there, connect with her some other way. She has so many wonderful ways of helping you and giving you resources to work with your own thoughts, your own mindset. And I just absolutely appreciate it that you took this time to be here with us today, Christine. It really means a lot to me.
Thank you for having me. This was fun. I'm always happy to talk about what I think about every day.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So we're going to say bye for now. And we'll look forward to seeing other conversation happening here in this
All
group.
right.
All
Thank
right.
you, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Have a good rest of your weekend. Bye.
Bye.